Okay, so the first thing I'd like everyone to do is to stop eating your bars for just a moment, and I'd like everyone, parents included, to just close your eyes for a moment. So parents, this may not apply exactly to you, but you can visualize something that does apply to you. Okay, now no talking during especially this part. Okay. So kids, you're on a block, and this is the most important meet that you've ever attended, that you've ever qualified for. Far Westerns, JOs, Olympic trials, maybe it's Olympic finals. And you're going to swim 200 yards, pick your favorite stroke. And you're lined up on the block, every eye closed please. You're lined up on the block, and as you squat down, as you're about to get ready to jump into the water or go backwards if you're in backstroke, you feel prepared like you've never been prepared for anything in your life before. You feel strength, power, speed, stamina, coordination, everything is just coming together for you like you never have imagined before. And when that beep goes off, you spring to life like you've never sprung to life before. You jump higher than anybody around you has jumped. You almost hit the flags as you reach this incredible pike, and you dive into the water with such a speed that you're half a body length ahead of anybody else near you, or anyone else in the water, and this is serious competition. So you swim down to the end of the pool, and you do your flip turn, and you kick off that wall, and you're in such a tight, incredibly wound ball, your turn is so fast, and your spring off that wall so powerful, that by the time you reach the flags, you're a full body length ahead of anybody around you. Your streamline is so tight because you're so flexible. So you come in, you finish that 50, and that turn is so much faster, you gain even more time. And so by the time you're at your 150, you're so much ahead of everyone, and every single turn is so fast and so tight, and your streamline is so powerful that you dominate the race, and you don't know where all this strength came from. So you finish that race, and you've dropped 8 seconds off your fastest 200 ever. Congratulations, you set a world record. Okay? Everybody open your eyes. Okay? So what I'm talking about is something called CrossFit. I'm going to take you back a little bit in history before most of you here were born, to 1984. Yes, kids, I know you think there were still dinosaurs at that time, like Tyrannosaurus Rexes were still running around and things. But things were fairly modern, even though we didn't have iPhones. So in 1984, the Russians boycotted the Olympics, the United States Olympics that were in LA for political reasons. So as a result of that, the Soviet Union created, back then it was the Soviet Union, they created a games called the Friendship Games to still compete with us. So that was in May that they boycotted. Then in August they created the Friendship Games. Well, the Americans cleaned up in the Olympics, but when we went to the Friendship Olympics, the Russians destroyed us in every single event. How many want the Russians to keep destroying us? Nobody, right? So we found out, we did a lot of studies on what the Russians did to prepare to be so much stronger in every event. And it was something that they called the Russian conjugate system. And the Russian conjugate system is a system of what we call general physical preparation. Joseph, we call it general physical preparation. And what that means is that your body is stronger, more coordinated, has better endurance, better stamina, better coordination, better stamina, I already said that, better flexibility, better agility, and better control. There's 10 generally recognized physical skills. CrossFit is designed to work on that, to be generally physically prepared. So as excited as I am for all of you to be faster in swimming, my goal is that your body would be prepared to do anything that you want it to do, that it would be stronger for about anything. So I'm going to do, forgive me, I'm going to do some graphs and some math here. It's at a level that everybody here can understand. I want you to try to take this in no matter how much you like math or don't like math. We're going to talk about power coming from people. Power to the people in front of the people. Power, or we call it work, is equal to force times distance over time. If you don't like math, don't worry, I'll make this really easy. We're going to work on you generating more power. How many of you want more power? Okay, everybody wants more power, okay? So force times distance over time. It's also known as, we call it in CrossFit, moving large loads, long distances, quickly. Now who can think of a situation where they want to do a lot of work in a very short period of time? Go ahead.
I want to swim 800.
That's right.
In like 15 minutes.
That's exactly right. You want to swim as fast as possible. So,
well put, Caroline.
Caroline and Madalena just said you're going to move a large load, a long distance, 800 meters, as quickly as you can. This is going to apply, don't worry. This isn't just boring school stuff, okay? Large load, long distances quickly. So what CrossFit, forgive me, this won't be that long, all this math stuff. CrossFit is designed to design your body to be strong enough and powerful enough and all those other 8 things that we talked about so you can do everything more quickly and more powerfully, okay? So that your capacity to perform work, your work capacity versus time normally looks like this, meaning the longer you go, the slower you can swim or the less fast you can run or whatever it is that you're doing. What we want to do is bring your bar up to here. And I won't tell you the age-related one because I think you're already losing, I'm already losing you. So how we do that, CrossFit is defined as 3 basic things. Constantly varied, functional movements at very high intensity. So constantly varied means every time you come to do your workout, it's going to be something a little bit different. Functional movements means it's something you do every day. I'm going to show you 9 basic movements that we do in CrossFit in just a moment. Functional movements means everybody squats, everybody has to get up out of a chair. Everybody has to push a weight up over their head at some point in their life. Everybody deadlifts, meaning everyone at some point has to pick up dog food. I'll tell you a story about that in just a couple minutes, okay? So at very high intensity. High intensity means we do everything quickly, right? So you're going to want to train your body to be stronger than everybody around you. So some people who use this type of system, who's heard of Arden Hill Swim Team? Everybody. Who knows who won JOs this year? Arden Hill Swim Team. Who's going to let Arden Hill Swim Team win next year?
Nobody!
Right? Not doctor, but Brian Nevada is a CrossFit trainer and he's also their head swim coach. They've been using CrossFit swimming for a long time. He trains CrossFitters how to train swimmers. He's an awesome guy. They've been using it with amazing success. They've been seeing a lot of times dropped and a lot of their athletes reducing their injuries, okay? This is also used in the military. This was on their website, on the CrossFit website today. By the way, parents or anyone, if you want to learn more about it, there's a CrossFit website. CrossFit is an international fitness phenomenon, I guess you would say. There's over 3,000 affiliates, which means gyms that do CrossFit. You can look at crossfit.com, pretty simple. But look at this, these guys, they're in Afghanistan, they're in a battle situation. Can anybody, David, can you read for me what it says right on their wall that they're hiding behind?
CrossFit.
CrossFit, then some numbers, right? I don't know what those numbers mean, but it says CrossFit because a lot of military people do CrossFit because they need to count on their bodies to save their lives, okay? So we're going to teach you to be able to count on your body more, okay? How many of you, either parents or kids, are a little bit nervous about weight training, especially with heavy weights, okay? Probably everybody. You should be a little bit. I hope you are. It's like a gun used wrong is very dangerous, right? So we got to teach you how to use your ability to power properly, okay? So we are going to show you how to weight train safely, okay? So it is true that people can get injured doing CrossFit, but I would submit to you that you would have a much more likelihood of getting injured playing basketball by far, playing soccer, playing football, or anything else. Anything done improperly is going to be dangerous. So if I take it back to that visualization, I want you to try to see something else clearly, that you're out to play basketball and you got a big huge meet coming up, and two of you go up for a ball, and both of you try to grab it, and because you jump higher, you grab the ball, but when you come down and you land on your feet, you land a little twisted on your ankle. Now, if your ankle is really strong, are you more likely or less likely to injure that ankle? Less likely, right? That's what we're going to train your body to be generally physically prepared for anything that you throw at it, okay? That's what we're going to train it for. So every joint in your body is going to be stronger, your muscles are going to be stronger, your coordination is going to be better, your endurance is going to be better, and your body's going to function overall better, okay? So that's what we're going to work on. One story about that. There was this is an actual transcript, a conversation between a CrossFit trainer and this elderly woman's medical doctor. And the doctor said, the majority of my patients should not be deadlifting. They're osteoporotic and they have these other problems with their bodies. And the trainer says, okay, so let's say, is she medically cleared to walk to the store to buy cat food? And the doctor says, well, yes, sure, if she feels like she can, she can. He says, okay, so she's bringing her cat food home, and she's at her front door, and she has the cat food in her arms and some other groceries, and she realizes that her keys are in her pocket. So she has to set the cat food down and get the keys and open the door. So now she set the cat food down and she medically authorized to pick up the cat food and go in the house. And the doctor says, well, yes, that's an essential activity. And the trainer says, yes, deadlifting is an essential activity. The only difference between you and me is that I want to train her to lift up that cat food very safely and with proper technique and proper form and not injure herself, whereas you don't. And the doctor says, I see your point, okay? So everywhere, kids, you're deadlifting things all the time. Let me see your backpack here. Kids deadlift all the time. They also clean and jerk, which I'm going to show you that in just a brief moment, okay? They deadlift all the time. We just want them to be deadlifting properly. They also clean their backpack all the time. We want them to be able to do that without injuring themselves. I want to train your kids to be generally physically prepared for anything and everything. On Sunday, this is the last story, and then I'm going to show you the movements. On Sunday, I piled out of the car from a long nutrition seminar, and I get out, I walk about 5 steps, and I don't want to mention any names, but his initials are Mike Lynch. He comes and he jumps on my back, okay? So Mike, it was perfectly fine. Mike knows I can take it, but because of my training, I'm not some martial arts expert, and I'm not that great even at CrossFit. But the point was my training allowed me to have proper form so I could saddle that load just fine. There's no problem holding him up because, or a kid or anyone. I want your kids to have the same thing, and I want my kids to have the same thing so that they're prepared for anything, okay? So there are 9 basic movements in CrossFit, so I show you these. We're going to train you before you do any of these, okay? And that's the reason we have PVC pipes there is because that's what we're going to train your kids on first so it's perfectly safe, okay? I value your kids' safety at least as much as you do, and also being a chiropractor, I value their spines more than you might even imagine. Okay, so there's 9 general lifts. These aren't the only lifts, but there are 9 foundational lifts that we do in CrossFit. So the first lift, okay, the first lift is a squat, and it's not a lift at all. So the first lift is a squat. This should be done safely. When we squat, we're going to squat so that our body goes below parallel. Let me ask you guys a question. From now on, every movement you do is going to be a full, complete movement. If someone's swimming a 50 freestyle and they're going for the record, and they dive in the water and they flip turn at the flag, at the far flag, and come back and touch the wall, and they did it 14 seconds, did they set the world record? They didn't, right? Because they shortened the movement. So from now on, we don't shorten movements. This is not a squat. That, I don't know what that is.